How's everybody doing today? Bobby, good to see you.
Shane Train, how you doing?
Awesome, man. Robert J. Schefter, attorney at law. Seneth, Schefter, and heirs?
Yep, you got it.
Bam, I try to trigger these. You know what? It's a name to count on. Shut up and lawyer up, right?
There you go.
I mean, seriously, but I did it. And there's nothing bad. I mean, that's just to protect you, man. My wife would never let me remodel the house. Right? She would say, shut up and call it, right? Shut up and lawyer up. I think that's great. We talked about that a little. I'm excited for today's show. We're talking about the field sobriety standard test.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
So get right into it. There are, if you get pulled over for a DUI, inevitably the officer is going to ask you to get out and perform some standardized field sobriety testing, or SFSTs. There are only 3 approved standardized tests nationwide by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. And those are the HGN, horizontal gaze nystagmus. That's what we're going to talk about today. It's the eye test. Second is the walk and turn. Everyone knows that one. Walk 9 steps, turn around and walk back. The third is a one-leg stand. We stand on one leg for 30 seconds. So today we're going to talk about horizontal gaze nystagmus. Now it's a fancy scientific term. Nystagmus is an involuntary jerking of the eyeball. Okay, so there are studies that the prosecution relies on to say if you have an involuntary jerking of your eyeball as your eyeball travels to the side, gaze, then that is a sign of impairment. And they base it on a study out in California from like the 1970s. So in their manual where they train police officers, they say that this test, the HGN, is the most reliable out of all 3 of them. But the really interesting part is today, right now in Pennsylvania, that test, the test results are not admissible in trial, because there has not been a determination by the courts that the test is scientifically valid. So it's an issue in Pennsylvania, not admissible right now for purposes of trial and proving guilt, but they can admit it into a probable cause hearing. So if we're fighting a DUI saying the officer didn't have probable cause to arrest you, they can use the HGN test results for that, but
and that's
not
the
a trial.
eye test.
That's the eye test. And we're going to go through that.
Okay.
HGN, horizontal gaze nystagmus. Again,
Okay.
nystagmus, involuntary jerking of the eye. The studies that they use say that it is a sign of impairment. Okay, so how do we do the test? The test itself, the officer holds up a pen, the first, or a finger, or a pencil. That's the stimulus.
And do they have a light a certain way? I watch a lot of live
Yeah.
TV, I'll tell you.
So that's one of the we're going to talk about problems with the test.
Because I'll see them say stuff like, we want to make sure you're level. I want to make sure the lighting is okay. Do you have any injuries? Do you have any?
Right. So they're supposed to go through that before conducting any of the field sobriety tests. Do you have any physical, medical limitations that would prevent you from performing those? And if you indicate that you do, then they shouldn't have you perform them. But as far as the eye test, the instructions when they train the officers, the way you're supposed to do it, number one, if you wear glasses, you're supposed to remove your eyeglasses. Okay? So then they're supposed to hold the stimulus 12 to 15 inches from your nose. Okay? And then they're going to direct you to not move your head, just use your eyeballs. Follow the tip of my pen with your eyeballs, okay, without moving your head.
All right.
And I'll explain how I'm going to do it. The first thing that they're supposed to do is to take it out to maximum deviation.
Oh.
So don't move your head, and they're supposed to do it within 2 seconds. So 1001, 1002. They're supposed to hold it there for 4 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. Then they're supposed to go all the way to the other side and hold it for 4 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. Then they bring it back to the center. And then what they should do, lots of times the officers are going to do it numerous times. I've seen videos where the officer literally is going like this. Mm-hmm. And I've had clients like, they're not moving their head, but at some point they stop because it's ridiculous. Even to do that for 1 minute is a lot. And I had one client who just stopped and started laughing. And the officer's, "Oh, you think this is funny?" It's like, no, I just don't say anything. But it seems kind of ridiculous.
You have to focus when you do it,
right?
For sure.
So then the second time around, they're supposed to go to 45 degrees. And that's basically it. But they're going to do it numerous times because they're looking for that involuntary jerking of the eyeball, which is the horizontal gaze nystagmus. So under the manual, there are 3 clues that they're looking for in each eye for a total of 6 clues. So when I did that, they're supposed to do it for the right eye and then the left eye. Right eye,
so
left
they
eye.
look at each eye as an
They're
indicator.
supposed to look at each eye. So the first thing they're looking for is smooth tracking and pursuit. So the first thing they're looking for are your eyes together and are they tracking the pen?
Yeah.
The second thing they're looking for is the sustained. It's called sustained and distinct nystagmus at maximum deviation.
That's
when you go all the way.
Keep the focus on it.
So you're not supposed to. They take it to maximum deviation where they can't see the whites of your eyeballs on that side, and they're supposed to hold it there for 4 seconds. 4 seconds is the key because people who are sober can have an involuntary jerking of the eye for a couple seconds at maximum deviation.
Yeah, because that's all the way in the corner.
Right.
Yeah, and
but
you have to work that.
That's supposed to clear up within a couple seconds.
Okay.
But it's
So
the
that's
4 seconds. Now, how they come up with 4 seconds, I don't know, but it's 4 seconds.
And it's not scientifically proven.
Not in Pennsylvania. There are other states that have approved it, but
Okay.
Pennsylvania has not. And so eventually there will be a battle where they will bring a case and they'll go for it, and we'll see what
So
happens.
how many times are they supposed to do it by law, or is there?
There's no maximum.
Okay.
And there's really the minimum would be 1 time for each eye, and if they do it the full way and then 45s, I would say 4 times.
Yeah.
The second, so they're looking for the smooth pursuit, number 1. That's the 1 clue. The second clue is the maximum deviation, whether you have a sustained and distinct nystagmus at maximum deviation. And the third is onset of the nystagmus prior to 45 degrees. So that's why the second time I went through it, I stopped there. They're supposed to stop whenever they see it. So if they see it, if they stop and it's less than 45 degrees, that's another supposed indication of impairment. So, and I've seen videos of my clients who are literally, they have to perform this thing for minutes. And at some point, I think, again, I'm not a doctor, but I would think at some point, it's just not going to register. It's not going to work. So now that we know what the horizontal gaze nystagmus is, I want to talk a little bit about the problems that I have with this test. Number 1, following their own manual, 12 to 15 inches, okay? Why do they say 12 to 15 inches? I don't know. But this is a standardized test. If they are not 12 to 15 inches, the results should be invalid, right? It's a standardized test. If you're not following the standard, it should be invalidated. So I see lots of officers right here or back here. And it's supposed to be, the tip of the stimulus is supposed to be slightly above the eyeball. Why? I don't know, but that's what they say. So if you're down here, the test shouldn't be valid. So that's one thing. 12 to 15 inches.
So how do you get videos on these?
Not all departments, but most police departments in your county now have dash cam videos. All the state trooper cruisers do.
Are they supposed to do it in front of the car?
Yes. Yep.
Okay,
They're supposed to perform the field
procedure?
sobriety test in front of the car so their dash cam video catches it. Yes.
Okay.
They absolutely
Right.
should.
Okay.
Yes. So that's how I get the videos. They're
Okay,
supposed
yeah, I
to
was
record
wondering
it,
how you have all
and
these.
they're supposed to preserve it. It is not the law. They don't have to video it or preserve it, but let's be honest, it should be. They should want to. They should want to have it on video.
Now, I'll see. Now, I just watch on live PD, right? So I'm just saying what I watch. They'll bring in a certain officer and say, bring in someone that's trained. They said specially trained. Does that happen a lot? Or
not with the standardized field sobriety testing, because it's my understanding that all the police officers and all the departments are trained in the standardized field sobriety testing because it's so common. Now, there is specialized training for a DRE, for a drug recognition expert. That's a different topic, but I think most officers will. Now, what I will see is rookie officers will bring in more experienced officers to do it if they're not quite comfortable with it. But with the HGN, I think it's just wrought with problems because the other thing is, it specifically says there's supposed to be 2 seconds from here to here. Why 2 seconds? I don't know. But if it takes the officer 3, 4, 5 seconds, does that invalidate the test? Well, I'm going to argue that it's not standardized if they don't follow the instructions. And then a big one is they're supposed to hold it there for 4 seconds.
Oh, I don't make glasses.
And lots of times they're going to do this and they're going to do this, and they're not going to hold it for 4 seconds. So again, you have to hold it for at least 4 seconds under their own rules, because a sober person can have that nystagmus.
Well, your eye has to be able to, I mean, I just see doing it and then tracking it, and then your focus on it. Go do it and try this, and you'll see the focus it takes.
Right.
It does take focus.
It does.
To sit there, and then to hold it there, you're not used to staring on something at a side angle.
Exactly.
So that does try it, and you'll see.
Yeah. So the other thing is, for that third clue, the onset of nystagmus prior to 45 degrees. How are they measuring 45 degrees? It's an estimate. They're just going out. They're going to approximate.
Yeah, because you don't know.
They're going to approximate, but they don't have a graph or something that shows 45 degrees. And another big thing, if these are standardized tests, it has to be the same on each side, right? So maximum deviation there, I have to go the exact distance over here.
And do you
How do you measure that? I don't see officers switching hands, but that's a good point. If I'm left-handed, so I'm going like this. I
just saw that.
So my left is probably going to be further out than when I go to the right.
Yeah.
And again, is it a huge deal if they're off a little bit? Well, in my view, it is, because these are standardized tests, and they're talking about very exact measurements of time and distance. The other real big thing is environmental conditions. Lots of times when these tests are performed, you're standing in front of a police car. And what's that police car having? Red and blue lights going. Where are you? On the side of a roadway. What's going by? Cars. Lights. All of these things, in my mind, can invalidate the test and cause you not to be able to focus. You can't have someone facing the cruiser with the lights going on. And the other thing is, at night, they're shining the light right on you.
You should go do these in your room with a friend and then imagine outside. Like when you just did it,
right.
The focus it took. Now when you're saying it, I'm like, man, you know, and you're already stressed out and like, oh my God, I'm pulled over right now.
And the other big thing, Shane, again, I've said it in prior videos, the standardized field sobriety tests are voluntary. You are not required to perform them.
So what does it mean if I get asked to do these and I say, look, I don't drink and drive and do all that. I'm not drugging and driving. So, but let's just say it happened. And how do you say now?
You politely.
Do they say, hey, I want to do field sobriety with you? And what do you say?
You say, with all due respect, I'm not performing any field sobriety tests.
And
why not? Say on the advice of my attorney. And that's all you have to say. And the less you say, the better. You know, at some point, they're going to say, oh, well, we just want to make sure you're okay to drive.
Yes.
You know, that's what they will say. And that's not necessarily true. They're looking for clues. So they're not just saying, they're not just doing this for your benefit. They're not doing it for your benefit at all. So, again, I don't want to rehash that, but the bottom line, you know, when you're in a situation like this, the least amount of conversation with the officer is important. You follow direct orders, but other than that, you don't have to answer questions. So, again, if you're pulled over, what you need to do is shut up and lawyer up.
So when do they lawyer up? Let's say they lawyer up, they see the show, they're like, something happened, no judgment zone, and now they need to get a hold of you. When do they really get a hold of you? They're going through, you know, they're not talking. When do they get a hold of you?
You do not have the right to call your attorney right from the scene. There's no right, and then when they take you in for a blood draw, there's no right to call an attorney before you agree to do that.
So acting like the law out there, is that a good idea?
No. So, you know, after... You can call me as early as the next day.
You just have to go through that process, follow the rules.
Follow the rules. If there are things to challenge, we'll challenge them later. But don't challenge them there.
Right. Okay.
You know, you can refuse to do the field sobriety test. Typically, do not advise to refuse the blood draw. But if there's a problem, we can challenge it later. So that's.
So as you hear, he said, do not refuse the blood draw.
Right.
Did you hear that? That's
typically,
important.
you don't want to, because you're automatically, your license is going to be suspended for a year or 18 months if it's a second or subsequent refusal. But again, I don't want to get into too much of that, because this is on the HGN.
So we're talking about the eye test today.
The eye test today. That's it. And I think
so
we covered it.
Can we recap it one more time?
Yeah, recap the HGN. It's the eye test. There are 3 clues with each eye, so it's a total of 6 clues they're looking for. And again, they are smooth tracking.
And they can do it as long as they want.
Yes. I mean, I haven't seen anywhere where it says this is too long, but I would think at some point it becomes overly burdensome to the person. So they're looking for a smooth pursuit. They're looking for sustained nystagmus at maximum deviation.
And
they're
let's
looking
say
for
you
an
start.
onset.
I'm sorry. Let's say I started the test and I remember what you said.
Well, you
Can
can
I
stop at any
stop?
time. Sure, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
and say I'd like to talk
Say,
to my
yeah,
lawyer. I
yeah.
don't want to talk
And,
anymore.
you know, if you do it
So
a couple
if I'm going
times,
through it, I'm getting frustrated. I'm like, I'm not doing good. I made a mistake. I remember what Bobby said.
Yeah.
Stop and lawyer up.
yep,
Don't talk.
Absolutely.
And I can do it anytime.
absolutely,
Respectfully.
anytime. Yes.
See, you
respectfully.
understand, getting out of hand, getting wild, that's not going to do you any good.
No, absolutely not.
Right?
I never recommend that.
Put it in the hands.
Yeah.
And I've been to court with you, and amazing. All I can say is I firsthand know. And, you know, you're not going to win anything except when you go to court and follow the rules of the justice system.
That's right.
And you get someone that knows what they're talking about. And let's real quick talk about experience and how long you've been doing this, because I think that's really important.
22 years in York County.
Boom. And we're playing their team tonight in basketball.
Good luck.
But listen, get a hold of them. Pennsylvania DUI attorney, DUIresults.com.
That's right.
You guys are right on Leaders Heights.
Yep.
You have your number. They can get a hold of you right here.
Yep.
Call the office.
Call the office, schedule appointment, free consultation.
Excellent.
All right.
So, appreciate it. So when's the next one? Are we doing one next week?
Yes, we're going to, the second standardized field sobriety test is the walk and turn, and that'll be fun too.
So we're going to be doing that.
Yes.
All right, the
We're
walk
gonna
and
do that
turn.
next. Yes.
All right, well, this is awesome. Please, we appreciate you watching this. And really, in the day of social media, 57% of people are doing social commerce. So there's someone you know that might be embarrassed. This is no judgment. But if you share this, they'll find someone that they can say, you know what, this is an attorney that I can deal with. They're human. And Bobby does a great job. You do a great job of not being intimidating to people, you know. And so share this for the fact that you have someone that you don't even know needs his help.
Right, and it doesn't have to be a DUI.
So
type
what
of
else,
criminal
real
offense,
quick,
man.
you do?
Oh my gosh, all type of things. I don't want to
All right,
advertise.
but criminal stuff, if someone gets in
I
trouble,
just had
they get a ticket.
I just had a felony strangulation trial, which I don't advertise like, hey, I want to do strangulation cases.
Yeah.
But someone was out at the prison, and I represented one of their family members, and they're like, you got to get this guy. We took it to trial. Not guilty, 100%. My guy was in tears, you know, because he was falsely accused of strangling his ex-girlfriend. So I'm not advertising strangulation cases, but if I don't feel comfortable doing it, I'll refer you to the right person. But I handle all types of criminal defense.
Can they do a consultation? Like if they're like, I don't know what to do.
Absolutely, free consultation. Yeah.
So the best thing, make the call.
Yeah.
And get the experience right here. Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Shane Train.
Thank
Good
you,
seeing
man.
you.
You all have a beautiful day. And look, don't be doing that street justice. Lawyer up.
Shut up and lawyer up.
Lawyer up right there. Thank you all. Have a beautiful day.